Welcome to the St. Johnsbury Chrysler Dodge Jeep Rams Outdoor Edge. I'm Joshua Smith, and thank you for joining us. We've got a great lineup for you this week, and this will help you make the most of your season here in the North Country. In this episode, Gary Moore brings back a familiar voice, Amy Baker, for another edition of Thoughts on the Out of Doors. This time, they're diving into winter hiking and how to do it safely, how to enjoy it fully, and what Amy's been seeing out on the trails as the snow settles in. So whether you're new to winter treks or a seasoned snow stomper, you'll pick up some great tips and inspiration. Also, don't forget, we'll check on the local conditions with our Snowmobile Trail Report with updates from both sides of the Connecticut River, and of course, your Fairbanks Museum Outdoor Edge forecast, so you'll know exactly what's coming up weather-wise before you gear up. So we're glad you're here, and we're going to jump right into it, and buckle in. Here we go.
Good evening, folks. Welcome to Thoughts on the Out of Doors. My guest tonight is Amy Baker, who you may remember last fall was on this program. Amy is well known to many of you. She's been preparing taxes for people in the area with an office in Woodsville and formerly an office in Franconia. So I'm finally got lucky and convinced her to come in, even though this is a very, very busy time for a tax preparer. But I've been following Amy and her exploits hiking for some time now, and since she was last on, she's done some hikes that I really thought we all should be interested in, and so Amy, welcome.
Thank you, Gary.
How about,
great to be here.
I know you returned to Iceland this fall to hike. Would you talk about that?
Yeah, Iceland just is one of my favorite countries because it has a lot of different climates there, and so I usually transition over there from the time change before I go to my next venture. So I went over there last fall in October. It was a little late in the year. I had to reschedule to go somewhere later in the year, and so I had to pick a place that would be a little more mild in October. So Iceland, the Northern Lights are still there until that second week in October. And then you can get used to the time change, and then I flew over to Ireland after that. This time I went back to the Thangavillor Park, and it's famous for the Tetonet plates. You can dive down and swim between the plates, which I'm saving that to go with my son next year after his senior graduation at college. Yeah.
What's the water temperature like?
Well, you have to wear wetsuits, and it's really cold. I don't think it's as cold as when we went shark diving in the shark alleyway, because that's water from Antarctica. But it is cold. I know, like just hiking in Iceland, when you cross the rivers or brush your teeth, or wash the dishes at the huts, your hands are cold for like 4 hours at night when you're sleeping. So it has to be pretty cold because it's the coldest water I've ever been. I know when the people from Spain, the girls were crossing, we had to carry them because they're not used to the cold, so their body was shocked when we were crossing the rivers. So it is very cold. But I like to explore out there because it's very vast. You can take a bus. This time I drove out there and just hiked around and met some people and showed them around. There's some beautiful waterfalls. It's in Northern Ireland, so they got a really nice walking trails. And if you venture a little further from where the bus stop rest area is, and then they've got a couple different geothermal pools there now, and one just opened.
The swimming between the plates was in Iceland.
Yeah, so I haven't done that yet. I just ventured out to where it was just because my son is really interested in that, and so I just ventured around, and then I met some girls over there, and I just showed them where some of the waterfalls are because you can't really see them right from where the rest area is. You have to venture further out. And there's a lot of historical sites out there. Like, they drowned a lot of women out there way, way, way back in the early 1200s. There's a lot of historical aspects there, so I found that interesting this time. So just stay there a couple nights before flying over to Ireland.
This was your second trip to Iceland?
Fourth trip.
Fourth trip, wow.
Yeah, I really just, Ireland is so unspoiled.
You could be a guide for Iceland, huh?
Yeah, I actually talked to my former guide over there to see if maybe I could help out do that, and then they have the volunteering for the climates and the trails. So they said I wasn't 30 years old. They're looking for 18 to 30 years old for those programs, fit people. And I said, okay, but if you have something, I'm pretty experienced. But they're trying to get the younger one ventures.
Sure. So, wow, yeah, I didn't realize how many times you've been to Iceland.
Yeah, I really fell in love with the 2-week hut trek, going way out in the outback without the power, and just you're really out there seeing the northern lights. You're really out there. A lot of people do a couple-day hikes or one-day hike, but to do that 2-week trek, it's pretty basic, and I just really fell in love with all the different climates they have, the volcanoes versus the glaciers, and you can see all types of things there, but you can really just sign up for a day or two hike too also. So
now, what kind of temperatures you're dealing with in October?
Actually, it was pretty mild this time. Usually you have a little bit of rain, so I usually bring a little windbreaker, and I always plan to warm up and venture out to the warm pools afterwards anyway. It actually was 50s. It was warmer there than here in October.
Oh.
So usually it's 30s in October. So.
Right. Huh. Well, from Iceland, you went on to Ireland.
Yeah, I had originally...
Most people, I don't know. I don't think of Ireland as hiking, but I know from pictures you sent and so forth, it's pretty spectacular.
Yeah, it really, it was more beautiful. I've been to Ireland years ago, and I didn't really venture on the coast that much. I had gone on a school trip with my son and chaperoned. And so I had gone to the Highland Way in Scotland last year, and I really loved being along the coast. I really enjoyed the coastal hikes. I've been really enjoying that in Spain and Portugal and so forth. So I was trying to find something milder in October, and I had gone to Switzerland in April, and there was too much snow to finish my hiking there, and it was too risky in October, again, the same climate. So I said, I'll try Ireland. One of a guy friend, Amian, that I had hiked and met with for 2 weeks in the Tour de Mont Blanc, he lives there. So my plan was to hike the way, meet him on weekends, and he can show me around. And so this time, when I flew there after the first day, I flew into Dublin and then flew again to Cork and took the train down to Killarney, and he actually showed me that they have 4,000 footers there, and I was really shocked. I just was really shocked that they actually had 4,000 footers, and this one is actually $39.95, and it was Mount Brandon, and there's the Brandon Way. It's very known for the crossing across the country. It's kind of like the Grand Canyon, but just a beautiful green. You're in amongst the cliffs, and you're driving through the pass, and it's very windy, and it was, back in the day, I imagine, very risky, like in Crawford Notch. And so we started hiking, and we got later. It was later in the day, and it was rainy. And I'll tell you, I've never been anywhere where it rains every day. I mean, it is called, and they have a name for it. It's lashing rain. I mean, it rains every day, like every day, all day, all night. And the only thing that helps you is it's so windy there along the coast that your hiking pants dry, and then you start all over again. So it's actually very helpful. So we started hiking about 11. It was later in the day. We probably should have gone earlier, but he lived far away. And we started up, and it was very windy. And I'd researched it the night before, and I couldn't believe that there have been a lot of deaths on Mount Brandon. I think it's the 7th highest in Ireland. Very easy to get to. You can take a bus, and then, they don't have Uber a lot in Ireland, but there's buses everywhere. It stops all around the coast along the Dingle Way, and this is before Dingle Way that I had started on the coast. And so, I actually had to end up turning around.
Is that right?
Yeah, I had read the night before, the climate is very extreme. Turn back, it gets very windy. It kind of reminds me of Katahdin. It gets the 3 o'clock weather. It doesn't get the lightning, but it gets the wind and the clouds. And we were like, my jackets, it's so windy. We must have 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts. So actually we made a decision. We stopped and ate lunch, and it reminded me of Mount Washington. It had 2 little lakes from all the rain, and it really looked like Peru. I haven't been to Peru, but that's what Peru to me would look like. It's Mount Washington, but more lush for the greenery from all the rain. And we had lunch, and we actually made a decision. Look, we need to turn back. We can't even see. You couldn't see the mountain. We were almost there. We probably only had a half a mile to go. And it was just really thick clouds, very windy, and we knew that, we had to get down before dark because we were literally walking down and just moving. And so we just decided to have lunch, enjoy what we saw, and just head back down. So it was and then on the way back down, there's a bench of someone who passed. And every year, people die on that mountain, just like Washington, and I think it's a little more common, too. But it's just not from snow, but the extreme hypothermia.
Well, I'd like to reiterate the point that you turned around.
Yeah.
I've said that on this program and in my columns for years. The wise person knows when to turn around.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say how many times I've had a goal and I just really still wanted to go and I've turned around. I mean, that's why I'm still here because, you know, to be safe, the mountains will be there. And I know it's hard to think about that. And I'll never go to Ireland, probably go on this mountain because there's other things on my plate to do. But it's okay. You know, look at the beauty that you have that's right there in front of you. Just appreciate what you have right there in the now. And it's just as beautiful as if you're at the top. So.
Did you do any other hiking in Ireland other than?
Yeah, so I had, I actually this time did my own self-guided hike, again, like I did in Portugal and Scotland. This one I chose because they have a lot of inns that you can hike to and bed and breakfasts, and they're along the coast. A little more so than in Scotland. Scotland, you're a little more remote. There's no restaurants. Very busy everywhere in Scotland. So I actually wasn't sure how Ireland would be because, you know, I thought it'd be similar to Scotland, but I just really fell in love with it. Yeah, it's called the Dingle Way. It's about 124 miles, and it's a lot in the rain, I will tell you. I have one backpack. You can't. Scotland is very nice because they have the racks to dry your clothes in all the rooms, like towel racks, and you can use those. Ireland really doesn't have that. They don't have a lot of heating systems. I mean, they have good heat, but they don't have the racks and things, and it's not enough to dry your clothes with that rain. So you really do have to bring an extra set. Like the windbreakers are fine, but an extra set of pants, which when you're packing with one backpack. Sure. So I just took one backpack again, 30 pounds, and just spent 10 days. And that's the same backpack I took to Iceland. So granted, my clothes are already dirty from 5 days in Iceland, right? But it doesn't matter. You end up wearing the same gear.
Sure.
As you know, you wear the same gear. You like the same things. But very importantly, were the leggings, the gaiters. You have to have gaiters, and even though the sun's out, it's going to rain. That saved my socks and my sneakers.
Sure.
But it's very swampy. You still can't get your sneakers dry. So it's very important to bring extra socks to change your socks.
Yeah.
But I went from, you know, very like Dingle is like such a beautiful little village, and the villages are just similar to Portsmouth, but they're larger and there's less traffic, and you just go from village to village. And then and then you go by where the Star Wars was filmed. You go by a lot of historical sites.
Right.
You're actually going over ladders into the pastures with the sheep instead of opening the gates. In Scotland, you open the gates all the time, and you climb ladders.
In Ireland, you climb over.
Yeah, you're climbing over the ladders, and you're walking with the sheep and the cows, and it's really lovely to get that experience again to bring you back to basics.
Obviously, the landowners
yes.
Obviously allow that and expect it.
Yeah, it's very nice. Then there's some cafes along the way, and then there's some pottery shops along the way with a beautiful cafe upstairs, and I do believe that after COVID, a lot of the small businesses have closed. They could use some little gift shops that offer some things. So be prepared to carry everything you need because they don't have, after Dingle, there's really not much. There's a little bed and breakfast and stuff.
Well, I think that's a good place for us to pause for a moment.
It's the St. Johnsbury Chrysler Dodge Jeep Rams Outdoor Edge on YKR Country.
The Autosaver Group St. Johnsbury Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram asks, do your outdoor adventures take you to where you wish you had a four-wheel drive or all-wheel drive? At St. Johnsbury Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram, explore their vast inventory of adventure-savvy four-wheel drives and all-wheel drive vehicles ready for you to drive at home. Plus, every St. Johnsbury Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram deal includes the Big Deal Plus, which is a 2-year unlimited scheduled maintenance plan, which includes free state inspections for life. Stop in today in St. Johnsbury, Vermont, or shop St. Johnsbury Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram online at stjohnsburycdjr.com.
At R&L Archery, we know it's not just about the thrill of the hunt or the size of the fish. It's about the moments that matter most, the traditions passed down from one generation to the next, and the stories told by the fire long after the sun is set. It's about the journey, the memories, and the time spent together with friends and family, because these are the moments that truly last a lifetime. R&L Archery, where every adventure begins. Come create your story.
Miles Supply, your stop for all your general business products, paper towels, toilet paper, first aid kits, and more. Purchase your paper and soap products from Miles, and they'll install the dispensers for free. Do you own a salon, restaurant, coffee shop, or gym making a monthly run to the big box store for your business supplies? Save time with Miles Supply. Call today for a sales visit, 476-3963, or walk directly into their showroom, 143 Boynton Street next to Spalding High School. Miles Supply, family owned and building relationships since 1954.
It's a St. Johnsbury Chrysler Dodge Jeep Rams Outdoor Edge on YKR Country.
Winter in Vermont is a great time to get outside and explore. It offers experiences for a wide range of abilities and interests. The Vermont Fish and Wildlife Department provides opportunities to take advantage of what the season offers. Visit vtfishandwildlife.com to plan your next winter adventure. You can sign up for a free ice fishing clinic, watch how-to videos, or find a wildlife management area near you for a quiet snowshoe stroll. Vermont Fish and Wildlife is here to help you get outside and experience the outdoors this winter.
Your website isn't working for you. Hi, this is Jay Davis, co-founder of Northeast Kingdom Online. I'm sure you've seen us online already. We've created hundreds of websites for companies just like yours. If you're ready to stand out on the internet, it's time to join forces with Northeast Kingdom Online, Northern New England's premier website design company. From security to mobile responsiveness, we handle it all. Let's make your website as unique as your business. Visit us at northeastkingdomonline.com and let's get started. Achieve more with northeastkingdomonline.com.
Welcome back to Thoughts on the Outdoors, and with me tonight is Amy Baker, a renowned hiker. Someone whose exploits I have followed for some time and admired. I only wish I were younger and could have the time and the physical ability to do some of them. Anyways, Amy, if one of our listeners wanted to go to Iceland to explore or to Ireland to do the same thing and hike, I mean, a lot of people go to Ireland, but not many of them go to hike.
Yeah.
You know, what would you suggest people should do to prepare? Whom should they contact, etc.?
Well, if you go to, say, first of all, I would say for Iceland, there are a lot of, I would get an introduction by hiring a local guide, and you can go to 57 Hours, you can go to U-Tracks. There are a lot of guided companies. I would just go, that way you learn the area, you learn, they will guide you as far as what equipment to use, because the climate changes every single month in Iceland. So just to be prepared, and so you get out there and see what types of areas you like, because it's very remote as far as, you know, even renting a car, you need a four-wheel drive in Iceland if you're going to drive.
Right.
You know, I almost got into trouble because I rented a car and I knew there was no snow, but when I got further out, had I gone further out, I would have needed something, but I knew that. But there are a lot of people that were in accidents when I was there because they had regular rental cars. You can't, if you go outside of Reykjavik 20 miles or so, you'll be fine. But if you're going to venture out, there were a lot of people that got into trouble. So just venture out and talk to a guide. I believe in Iceland, that's the best way.
Yeah.
Then you can go to Ryanair, and they fly directly to Dublin. Instead of going Travelocity and Booking.com, and get down to Killarney. Killarney could be your central point. You know, you can go the Dingle way, or you can go the other way. The other that everyone does the Kerry way. That's very famous there. I decided to do, and they also have a Black Canyon. I believe that maybe if you're really interested in that, you can just drive around. It's actually, but that's very remote. That kind of scared me. We drove around at night. My friend Amy, and that knows the area, he's like, well, I think next trip when you come down, we'll do the Black Canyon and the Kerry Way. Because I said, well, I chose the Dingle Way because everyone does the Kerry Way. And he said, well, actually, you might be missing out also because Kerry Way has a lot of other things that people don't know. Everyone drives the Kerry Way, but there's the Black Canyon that goes in the remote. And I will tell you, it looked like in the gold rush. It's very remote, and not a lot of people do that. And I said, and I just said, well, where would we go about starting here? It's very remote. I would just talk to someone local and go to, in Killarney, and go to a guide shop there and just get some, maybe go with someone first because it's very remote. But start along the Kerry Way. It's very popular. And then start to meet people out that way. I would fly into Killarney and then rent a car or take a bus tour. Bus tours are great because they show you the area, and then you can get back and go from there.
help by taking the bus tour first to get the lay of the land. Then you can figure out what you want to do and figure out how to get there.
Yeah, that's what I did to see the tectonic plates at first. I said, I'll take a bus ride, just check everything out, because the transportation, it could be $100 for a taxi ride. I flew in too late, so I missed the buses. I usually fly into Iceland, and it's an $8 bus, but if they don't run after 11 at night, so I got stuck paying $150 for a taxi, if your flight's delayed. So you really have to prepare for that. So you just talk to the locals, and they're very helpful. They're the best, as far as the best knowledge and resource.
Great. Did you go on from Ireland to hike some more over in Europe, or did you come back home?
I came back home because that is when everyone starts getting snow. When I was in April, Switzerland got snow earlier, and they had already gotten snow in Switzerland. I had seen that because I had already spent, really, I had one backpack. So for me to go further, I would have had to do laundry, which is fine because in Ireland they have outdoor washers.
Sure.
At the gas stations, the washer dryers are outside in the parking lot.
Is that right?
Yeah, so it's funny because I met one guy, and actually he's from the States, and he got stuck on Mount Brandon. He actually had to stay the night. Actually, I met him on the way back after the Dingley on the bus stop, and I said, where have you been? His hair was long, and he just hiked around, and he didn't have any knowledge, and we're friends now, but I just said, it's great he's okay, but he actually had to set up camp and froze. Like, he was really cold. He went the night after we were in Brandon.
Wow.
And I actually had to show him. I met him on the bus, and I showed him where the washers were and stuff, and gave him my extra portable charger because he didn't have service. He didn't have, so...
He wasn't prepared.
No, he didn't have a map. He just followed this way, and I said, I can't even believe you did that. So I actually gave him, I showed him where the washer dryers were outside, and then I gave him one of my portable chargers. I said, if you're going to continue on, you really need this.
So that's common that they have the washer dryers outside the garages and so forth, so that people can stop and do their laundry?
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know.
You don't
if
have
it's
to
for
go
the
to a
locals.
laundromat or something?
Yeah, I think they have it, so then you can go, I don't know, and you can watch it from the cafes. I can't fully understand that, but Ireland had a lot of really neat things like that. It was very fascinating. They're just simple people and wonderful people, and I never thought I would go back there, but after this trip, it's really lovely. Yeah.
Great.
Much to offer.
Well, talking about being unprepared, you and I on this program last year talked about, especially in the White Mountains, and we know how deadly Mount Washington can be.
Right. We had a couple more last year that died.
Yeah.
In June, I mean, it wasn't even winter.
Right.
June and August.
I know you, before we started tonight, you mentioned that a couple of cars you'd seen at a trailhead. Yeah,
Saturday I was coming back from a birthday party in the Berlin area, and, I like to go that way, and then I check out, how the snow and everything to try and to plan if I want to go hike again, where I would go, and I just gauging the snow, and it was 11 at night, and it was 15 below. I looked in my car, and that's at the bottom of the mountain, and there were two cars there at the end of Adams, right parked where Airline is, the busy parking lot to get to Madison and Adams, and it was 11 at night, 15 below at the bottom. I can't even imagine how cold it was up there. I mean, I don't know. I don't know why anyone, I don't want to, degrade anyone or be negative, but things happen. If you fall and get hurt, you're, in that weather and with the wind, it probably was 35, 40 below up there. So I was very shocked to see that at 11 at night. There's no huts open.
Right.
I just... and I almost went to look at the places. They couldn't have been local. They just really couldn't have been, but maybe they were. I just feel like, yes, we have these lists, and like I said before, they'll be there, and that was just concerning because that puts the rescuers at risk.
Yeah, it sure does. And, it seems to me the vast majority of the carryouts that Fish and Game has been doing have been ankles and leg injuries, mostly from falls on ice.
Yeah.
But if you don't have a way of getting help, that sprained ankle or injured knee could cause you to die.
Yeah, and when the cold, it zaps your portable chargers and things like that.
Oh yeah.
And also, I don't hike as much here now because, since COVID, the trails are getting eroded. With the rain, it's really eroded. There's a lot of roots. There's a lot of falls, like you said. It's the conditions of the trails now. So if you don't allow extra time, and if you get hurt, if you get hurt during the day at 3 o'clock, that's an issue. If you go later, the trails are very rough right now with erosions and stuff. The roots, I've tripped a couple of times. I try and go slow. I'm a fast hiker, but
I'm going to say, when did you start going slowly?
Well, I noticed in
You
Cannon.
have a reputation of being a very fast hiker.
Yeah, so I can get up to Cannon, very quickly, and I'm so used. There are certain ones that I just love, and I just have a time frame that I try to attain still 15 years later. But Cannon's one of those that's really changed. Cannon is really. It's really changed. You have to, some spots, you have to, have your foot up about 2 feet because it's eroded from the rain. So you're getting from rock to rock in the roots. So I've tried to be more careful now because my sneakers have caught on the roots. Because there's so much traffic now.
And the older we get, the less
agile
our muscles stretch. It's easier to get hurt. That's a fact of life.
Yeah, so I feel like if you go earlier in the day, it's better because
you
what
can
if you
still
get hurt?
be in awfully good shape and still find that it's easier to get a sprain than it was 20 years ago.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, certainly it's been a busy time for Fish and Game in New Hampshire, and all the other volunteer organizations have done rescues.
Yeah, I saw that.
It seems like every other day there's a carry-out from somewhere.
Yeah,
and
the
they're
rain.
not all. We're not talking Mount Washington always. We're talking a lot of the much smaller peaks.
Yeah, it's the rain. You notice it's after a lot of rain. Like, I do not hike after rain because it is so slick. It's so slick. And this year it was a lot. It was right after the rainfalls, I thought.
Well, another thing you mentioned is the condition of trails. When COVID hit and everybody wanted to get out, all of a sudden people who never dreamed of hiking were out there, and the outfits, the organizations that maintain the trails are just having a heck of a time trying to keep them passable, because the more foot traffic, the harder it is to keep the water bars cleared and so forth. You get more and more erosion, as you said, and you mentioned going up Cannon, where it used to be fairly easy. Now you got to stretch to make it up to the next step.
Yeah, and I also found even like on Wells Dickey during COVID to separate, and it created all these other trails.
Yeah. Despite all the signs saying stay on the trail.
Yeah, so I was at night in the fall, and I had my headlamp, and I actually took a wrong turn following something, and I've done Wells Dickey like 20 times. It's in my backyard. I'm in Campton, and I was just, because there's a lot of rocks that are cleared, so there's pathways, but people have gone off since COVID and gone off and then turned around. So then you go a ways until you realize, and I was just looking around and, playing music and not really paying attention. And then I said, this doesn't look familiar. But had I not gone there before, I wouldn't have known that.
Right.
So it's really, you've really got to know the trail if you go at night, and phones don't always work, especially like Wells Dickey and so forth. People are relying on the phones.
Yeah.
So that's hard.
Well, cell phones can be a lifesaver, but they can also be a false sense of security.
Yeah.
With that, we'll take another break.
It's the St. Johnsbury Chrysler Dodge Jeep Rams Outdoor Edge on YKR Country.
The Autosaver Group St. Johnsbury Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram asks, do your outdoor adventures take you to where you wish you had a four-wheel drive or all-wheel drive? At St. Johnsbury Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram, explore their vast inventory of adventure-savvy four-wheel drives and all-wheel drive vehicles ready for you to drive at home. Plus, every St. Johnsbury Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram deal includes the Big Deal Plus, which is a 2-year unlimited scheduled maintenance plan, which includes free state inspections for life. Stop in today in St. Johnsbury, Vermont, or shop St. Johnsbury Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram online at stjohnsburycdjr.com.
At R&L Archery, we know it's not just about the thrill of the hunt or the size of the fish. It's about the moments that matter most, the traditions passed down from one generation to the next, and the stories told by the fire long after the sun is set. It's about the journey, the memories, and the time spent together with friends and family, because these are the moments that truly last a lifetime. R&L Archery, where every adventure begins. Come create your story.
Welcome back to Thoughts on the Outdoors. With me tonight is Amy Baker, a renowned hiker from the region and known to many of you as your tax preparer. We've been talking about hiking in Iceland and Ireland and other places, but I know you enough, Amy, that you got plans for something coming up. What is it?
Well, I'm a little struggling because there's certain times of year you go places, and so I do want to. I have some on the docket here, but they're conflicting as far as the time frames. I have my friends want to, so I'm meeting my friends in Sardinia. We're going to do the coastal route around there. It looks really amazing. It looks like it reminds me of Portugal. Historical, just like, the Camino in Spain, but as you know, Camino is very busy. And also doing the Yukon, maybe hiking. I met someone in Ireland. They told me about hiking from Tombstone out in the Yukon.
Oh, yeah?
So looking at doing Sardinia and then going to the Yukon, out there meeting my friends that I met in Tournemont Blanc from England. So that's the end of August into early September, Sardinia in September.
Oh.
So, and then Moab, my friends are doing the high points in the States.
Oh, okay.
So I'm getting back to that. So we actually entered the lottery this week to do Mount Whitney. I was supposed to do Mount Whitney a couple of years ago, but I burned my foot.
Right.
So I'm going to meet her in Moab, do a couple 48s out that way.
When will you know if you get permission to do Mount Whitney?
I think the lottery is this week, so probably after this week we might know.
Okay.
So, but a lot of people have been falling there, like here, because of the conditions. So I'm a little skeptical. It'll have to be just right. If I'm just out there to enjoy the experience, that's what I've learned in this life.
Sure. Are you
So.
taking off to the highest point in each of the states?
Well, I'm really not that interested in that. I do want to help her because she's new in hiking. So I felt it best that I, go with her to do Idaho and a couple of those to start with, just to, showing her some gear, just because she's new at that. She's done Louisiana and the other ones, but I just really want to be there for her, and it'll be a great experience for me too.
Sure, you could. Next month you could go to Florida and do that one.
Yeah, right.
Well, how about
Right now,
how
this
about
weekend.
Rhode Island? The high point in Rhode Island is
Yeah.
about 300 yards off the road.
Right. So I'm really
Elevation
not.
gain of about 5 feet.
Like you said, I was like, oh, they seem like long, like the 100 highest in New England.
Right.
I was at 81 or something, and there's, a bunch more, but they're bushwhacking, which is very
Right.
dangerous. For me, I'm just not. I fell at J Peak doing Big J, and there's no service there, and I fell on my back 3 years ago, and I said, because it was icy, it's really not worth it to me. I'm really just picking and just being more careful.
Older and smarter.
I don't feel older, so,
Well,
I
but
feel like...
learn from your experiences.
Yes,
right?
yes. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And be safe.
Good. Anything else in the works?
Well, I started writing a book. My mother encouraged me to, write a book, so I've done a couple chapters in that. She was my editor, so she would go through and highlight, and I thought I would incorporate my experience, say, at Mount Washington,
Right.
and some tips and resources for others. I really enjoy giving tips to others.
If I might interject here for any listeners who didn't hear the earlier show we did, you had a winter hike on Mount Washington that could have cost you your life.
Yeah. I mean, and it was a bluebird day too, and it was just one of those things. Like in Ireland, the storm just came up, and sometimes just there's nothing you can do. The important thing is to have your gear.
But someone with less experience than you would have not have survived.
Yeah.
I mean, you had to hunker down in your bivy sack, and even then you were going numb.
Yeah. It was really, to have the headlamps, to have the extra chargers, to have the Gatorade that won't freeze, and then I had, I made a couple fires,
Right.
I was able to do that. So just make sure you have the gear. Things happen even though it's a bluebird day.
So, what do you think about this book? You going to have time to?
Well, that's a struggle.
When can we look for it?
I know. So what I've wanted to do is I have started that, and I wanted to incorporate all my current hikes with it to say, hey, this rain reminds me of this, or I'm trying to incorporate my experience here with all the ones around the world to give some tips and and give. So I have to research like the media links and things that people can go to if they want to travel to these other places. So it's going to be resource as far as a guide for around the world. So I'm hoping, beginning of next year. But we'll see.
Good. Well, is there anything else you'd like to tell our listeners who are contemplating hiking and exploring some of these places that you've piqued their curiosity about?
Well, I just want to say that I used to hike a lot more so at, at night or later in the day, but I just feel like if you hike early in the day, it's better as far as the winds change. And then with the conditions, you might fall. You don't want to get stuck at night. If you're hurt, you can get out easier during the day. That's really important. But again, the most important thing is leave your trip plan with someone, because if you don't get back and they expect you back, they know where you are, and the rescuers know where you are to follow your route. They're not trying to figure out where you are. That's the most important thing.
Right. Make sure that someone knows your itinerary and your expected time back.
Yeah, I always, if my friends are hiking even out west, hey, where you're going, let me know. It's just, you have that person that knows the trail where you are, and a family member.
Right.
Also.
And let me know when you expect to be back.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because I remember when they called my father, the Coast Guard, he's like, what do you mean? I just talked to them talked to her at noon. She said she was running late. It was great up there, and, it was 2:30 when I knew I was in trouble. So. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Amy. I appreciate you taking the time for preparing taxes to come and talk about hiking. Look forward to talking to you again, maybe after your next few trips.
Yeah, that sounds great, Gary. Always a pleasure. Thank you.
And that was Gary Moore talking to Amy Baker and getting some good tips on winter hiking. Still ahead, we'll fire up the Snowmobile Trail Report with fresh trail conditions from both sides of the Connecticut River. So stick around. It's coming up right after this break from these important messages.
It's a St. Johnsbury Chrysler Dodge Jeep Rams Outdoor Edge on YKR Country.
Winter in Vermont is a great time to get outside and explore. It offers experiences for a wide range of abilities and interests. The Vermont Fish and Wildlife Department provides opportunities to take advantage of what the season offers. Visit vtfishandwildlife.com to plan your next winter adventure. You can sign up for a free ice fishing clinic, watch how-to videos, or find a wildlife management area near you for a quiet snowshoe stroll. Vermont Fish and Wildlife is here to help you get outside and experience the outdoors this winter.
Steve here at Bachelor Carpentry. Check us out at vtcarpenter.com. Winter winds are chilly and white, but your kitchen's future should be bright. At Bachelor Carpentry, we get it right. Transforming spaces into sights. Cabinets gleam, counters invite. Cooking style, cooking delight. Don't hesitate. Let's design tonight. And once again, check us out at vtcarpenter.com.
And it is now that part of the show where we get to talk about the trail report here for snowmobiling. And so it's not over the phone now. We have Dan Ingerson, the vice president of the Connecticut Valley Snowmobile Club, is right here in the studio.
Yes,
Dan,
I am.
Dan, how you doing?
Pretty good.
Good. And so we had some snow.
Got some snow finally.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting.
It is.
So did you make it to that 18? You mentioned last time you had that 18-inch mark where then you can get reimbursed from the state.
8-inch.
8-inch. Okay, I was going to say 18 was a lot.
That's a little crazy.
Yeah, that's like.
We're not Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that's like 3 feet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, but you did make the 8-inch.
We got the 8-inch.
Yeah.
We had 16 inches of snow in West Bath.
Okay.
And then Monday we picked up another 6 inches.
Wow. Okay. And so everything's open now.
Everything's open.
Everything's open. And I was actually like driving through North Haverhill, and I saw your groomer hanging out there next to the road near the Hatchland Farms.
We were there getting a track laid out for the poker run.
Okay.
February 15th.
Okay. All right. And so that is still, I saw that in the paper, and I heard an ad on the radio about that.
Yep.
Yep.
Still going on.
Still, the poker, and so explain to people exactly what happens with the poker run.
Poker run is you have 5 stops.
Okay.
Get 5 cards. So we start off at Augie's at 10 o'clock in the morning. You're going to go up Trail 108 towards 105. There's a couple stops out through there. It switches lands to Lisbon area, So Lisbon Stump Jumpers, we get on 105, and we follow that down towards Corridor 5, which there's another stop, and then you head south on 5 all the way to Augie's in North Haverhill again.
Okay. All right.
It's a 27-mile loop trail.
Okay.
And it takes about 2 hours to complete it.
So is like a race?
Nope.
No.
It's just a cruise.
Okay. All right.
Then when you get back to Augie's, you hand them your card, and then you pick 5 cards, and that's your hand. If you
Okay.
want more hands, it's $10 a hand.
Wow. Okay. All right. And so after that, you guys are also having a Clunker Sled Classic.
So the next Saturday, February 21st, is our Clunker Sled Classic.
Wow. Okay.
At Bay Ridge Speedway.
Yeah, and that is fun. That's an all-day event too.
That's all-day event.
Yeah.
So we're going to do the kids up front first, and then we'll get into the adults.
Okay. And you said roads are great. Everything, all the trails are
great. We're out there every day trying to keep the whoops down and fill in any frozen lumps of snow people like to spin up.
Right. And how much of the trails are on private, and how many of your trails are on public? Are they all private?
No, we got state land and private.
Okay.
So there's a lot of, it's mostly state land.
Right. And also too, when you're going through private land, I know you mentioned some tips and pointers if you're going on people's private properties.
If you go on people's private properties, make sure you stay on the trail. If you go outside of the diamonds or outside the signs, you're trespassing. And then with the state of New Hampshire, they can use game cameras as evidence.
Okay.
So if we have a lot of people not obeying the trails and want to get them shut down, we can use trail cams and get your sticker, and you can pay the fine.
Right. And also too, different ways of traveling if it's nighttime or daytime as well.
Keep your speeds down.
Yeah. Yeah.
New Hampshire speed limit's 45.
Okay. Yeah.
And they have it posted everywhere.
Right. Yeah. Good. Well, hey, Dan, and also, too, if people want to learn more about the Connecticut Valley Snowmobile Club, you have a website.
CT Valley Snowmobile Club at .com.
That's right. Excellent. Well, Dan, then I guess next time you're going to be on, then we're going to be talking, will be on February 19th will be the next Outdoor Edge show, and we'll get an update from you.
Perfect.
All right. It is now one of our favorite times of the show is to talk to Gary Lamberton, who is the trail master over at the Buckaroos of 302. Gary, how you doing?
Doing great, Josh.
Sounds like you're on the road.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, so you're driving, but I'm sure your mind is set on what's happening with the trails, huh?
It's been a great year, that's for sure. Right. I've got a big weekend ahead of me.
Right. So yeah, talk about it. How are the trails? Is everything green now? All the roads are green, huh?
Yeah, all the trails are green. I was out last weekend checking the ones that were yellow and said, yep, Jesse's got them good. We're going to change these over. They are green. They are, mid-season conditions.
Right. And remind people where, the Buckaroos of 302, what are some of the adjacent clubs that you're connected to?
Yeah, we have Thompson Ridge Runners. We have Bailey Hazen Club. We have the Marshfield Plainfield Club, Twinfield, which is connects to us through Marshfield and Cabot. And then we have the Snow Bees out of Barrie. So we have a lot of different clubs that are connected to us.
Right. And how many miles does the Buckaroos of 302 cover?
We claim 60 miles of Bass Trails.
Wow. Okay. Wow. And so as the report goes, how are things going?
Doing good. We are so fortunate. Jesse Lambert Farms Grooming has been out there every day since opening day, and it really shows. He's got a nice hard base put down, and I love the stories I hear when people have been out riding and they've done their 100-mile loop and they come back at the end of the day and, sometimes, with the traffic thing, not everything is always perfect all day long. And they come back to Buckaroos and they get a white carpet in front of them. Jesse just is out there all the time. And I saw him, probably it was 2 weeks ago, and he told me he's already got 1,000 miles in the groomer.
Wow.
And he's probably up to 1,200 by now.
Well, because over the last couple of weeks, we've had a lot of snowfall.
Yeah, that last storm, it was fluffy, but it's been great. And it's helped all the clubs around us. The clubs that didn't have the great elevation like we do in Groton, it really helped them. I did a ride down to Chelsea last weekend, and it was the best I'd seen in years. It was beautiful. You can go anywhere you want now. It's great season. Get out there and ride.
And remind people, if someone, we're halfway through the snowmobile season basically right now, and remind people if they want to pick up and start riding right now, what's the best way to get started then? Well,
find yourself a used sled, hook up with some friends, connect through your club, and there's used clothing, there's used snowmobiles out there. They can get you into the sport at a real reasonable cost. And then when you get comfortable with things, you can move up into something newer. There's lots of options out there. You have to register with the state that you live in. Doesn't have to be the state of Vermont, but it's good if you are. And then buy a vast TMA to ride on the trails.
And you have an event coming up, correct?
Yes, the annual Dick Page Ride-In held at the Groton Town Garage. Chickens cooked by the fire department. It's our 47th, so it's been going on for a long, long time. We'll have members of the Page family, traditionally always there helping us out. It's a big event. We usually serve between 150 and 200 chickens, and it starts at 11 a.m. You can ride in or drive in.
Right. And it is amazing. I know the Groton Volunteer Fire Department. They're famous for their chickens.
Oh, it is. It is the best.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Gary. And I look forward to so next time we'll chat will be middle February.
Yeah. I'm sure we'll still be going.
Yep. Excellent. All right. Thank you so much, Gary.
All right. Have a good day.
It's the St. Johnsbury Chrysler Dodge Jeep Rams Outdoor Edge on YKR Country.
You've picked the paint colors, maybe even sketched a layout on the back of an envelope, or made the playlist for your grand opening. But without a design, it's just a dream. Riverside Design Works in Bradford makes those dreams real for families and small businesses across the Upper Valley. Affordable, functional, and community-focused, we build for your needs and within your budget. But heads up, the 2026 construction season is booking fast. If you want shovels in the ground next year, you need plans today. Keep it simple. Riverside Design Works. Smart choices, reliable results.
I'm Mark Breen. Welcome to the Outdoor Edge forecast. Another weekend on the way, and wouldn't you know it, another surge of bitterly cold Arctic air will come with it, the third weekend in a row. Certainly, it will affect your outdoor plans, and for good reason. Temperatures near and below zero, along with gusty winds, will require the best of outdoor gear if you are out, and you'll likely want to limit your time outside, if for no other reason than the delightful excuse to get inside and get yourself warmer, however you choose to do that. The cold seems to start tonight with temperatures dropping below zero, but this is actually not part of the primary blast of Arctic air. Instead, we're looking at a pair of cold fronts north and west of the Great Lakes, the first one knocking on our door by late tomorrow with clouds increasing and a slightly milder south wind, which won't make it feel any warmer, but it will keep readings above zero tomorrow night. All in all, tomorrow should be a fine day for outdoor activities, though it will start on the cold side. Also, you'll lose the sun in the afternoon as the fronts get closer. This leads to some light snow tomorrow night into Saturday, a dusting to a few inches of powder to freshen the well-established snow cover. It really won't add much to the depths, especially being the dry, powdery type snow. Even tomorrow should be manageable for outdoor plans, readings in the teens, but temperatures start to plunge tomorrow afternoon, dropping through the single numbers on their way to the single numbers and teens below zero by Sunday morning, feeling more like the 20s and 30s below thanks to some gusty northwest winds. This intense cold has prompted the National Weather Service to issue an extreme cold watch for Saturday night into Sunday. Exposed skin can experience frostbite in less than 30 minutes and sometimes as little as 10 minutes. You'll want to limit your outdoor time until those temperatures start easing up toward the middle of next week, along with a potential change in the weather pattern. Not only will that mean less Arctic air starting in the middle of next week, we'll also see some change in terms of upcoming storms. Now, there could be a series of snowfalls. However, there are hints that rain and ice may also be components of what develops. So enjoy our snow while you can, although you'll seriously want to bundle up. The forecast details tonight, mainly clear, some high clouds, temperatures dropping down to between 5 and 10 below zero. And then Friday, some morning sun giving way to increasing clouds, highs 20 to 25. Friday night, look for periods of light snow, some light accumulations, lows 5 to 10 above, and then Saturday morning snow tapering to snow showers, blustery turning much colder, early highs in the teens falling through the single numbers in the afternoon. By Saturday night, clouds will still hang around, breezy, quite cold, 5 to 15 below zero, coldest over the higher elevations, and Sunday, variable clouds, some sun, blustery, bitterly cold, highs only near zero. That's your Outdoor Edge forecast. I'm Fairbanks Museum meteorologist Mark Breen. Good luck and enjoy the great outdoors.
Thank you so much, Mark. And that wraps up this week's edition of the St. Johnsbury Chrysler Dodge Jeep Rams Outdoor Edge. Big thanks to Gary Moore and Amy Baker for the great conversation about winter hiking, and our trail reporters for keeping us all on the know. If you missed any part of today's episode or want to listen again, you can find it on demand starting tomorrow. Just visit WYKR.com, download the WYKR app, or subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Stay safe, stay warm, and we'll catch you next time on right here on the St. Johnsbury Chrysler Dodge Jeep Rams Outdoor Edge. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to WYKR 101.3 FM and WTWN 1100 AM. And right after this, I'm going to turn up the music for the Outdoor Edge outro. Then I'm going to turn up the music for high school basketball, because Robin Wozni and her crew are in Oxbow right now, and the Oxbow boys versus BMU boys game is happening in 30 seconds. So stay tuned and enjoy the next segment. We're just rolling right through, folks. So stay tuned.